Shalom, 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 first and foremost. Giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Ruchakodash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone, and shalom and salutation to all you sincere Akim across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, because I'm a God from a DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Hakodash, and feed the elect. I just want to make a quick video dealing with a topic that I've been basically meditating upon, which the title is meditation, basically. The importance of meditation, something like that. And it's very important because in this journey, in this gospel, and it's truth. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of variables. The truth is quite, it's kind of it's easy yet it's complex, because you got a lot of things. You have consistency, you have duty, you have all kinds of trials and tribulation and adversity. So a lot of times, man, we get caught up in certain things that we involve ourselves into in the world, because the reality is that you can't just, when you get this truth, when Yahweh Shemashah comes to you with this gospel, you can't just remove yourself and just be like, oh, you're going to be at home and you're not going to be out dealing with people in the world. So, I mean, that's just not how it works, because with the light, once you receive this light, you have to be in situations dealing with darkness. And that's how being able to experience both the light and the darkness, both at the same time. That's how you actually get the understanding, the complete understanding of what you're a part of the truth of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai and the importance of Yahweh Shai. So, and then what happens when you're in the world, whatever you're getting into, sometimes you have to just be able to just sit tight and meditate, all right? Because I always say wisdom, knowledge, and then understanding knowledge is I always say knowledge is a sprinter, but understanding is a walker. So knowledge sprints, but understanding walks. So it takes time for you to start to understand what you're going through, and you rarely understand these things while you're going through it. The understanding comes later. So you have to meditate on the journey and the ups and downs, the light and the darkness. So first, I like this image right here. Mind, body, and spirit, because we're going to get some precepts about meditation, the importance to find a place where you need that that therapeutic that therapy, that spiritual therapy. You need that. It's very important, because if not, then you're not going to be you're going to lose focus, and you're going to have issues. You're going to have multiple issues all at the same time. So without further ado, let's go to the word meditation. On Edom Online, it says contemplation, devout, private devotions, prayer, thought, reflection, study. All right, so study. So that's the thing, because a lot of times, in this world in particular, when people say, well, they meditate, what they usually do, and they go and sit in the bed or sit on the floor, cross their legs and their arms in a Buddha like fashion, and it starts humming and making weird sounds, and to them that's what this world calls meditation. But that is not meditation. That is just basically commercialized false image or false understanding of meditation. Now, a part of meditation is standing still, but meditation, as you see right here, it says thoughts. So you have to think, you have to reflect, and then you have to study. All right. So studying the scriptures is a part of meditation. All right. It's not just sitting there in one spot. It's studying the scriptures, thinking upon the scriptures, and reflecting on the current situation, the current path in which you in according to the scriptures. So you can get a sense of what's going on within the inner man. And what's going on out in the world. I mean, that's how you really navigate in this gospel, and make sure you don't get too derailed, and always come back, to the focus, to the center. So I want to definitely bring that up, that a good part of meditation is studying. Very important. Now, where you decide to do that, that's on you. Sometimes it's gonna happen in bed. I mean, me, I've had instances where I'm in the bathroom. I just let the water run like them old Orientals always did. You know, those monks or whatever. They'll sit under a waterfall and let the water hit them, and they just start thinking. I mean, that's something I've done as well. I mean, but there's many ways. Thoughts, communication. You talk to yourself, which in this world shuns, you talking to yourself. Several times people they'll see me, they probably catch me. You don't want to just go around talking to yourself out in the open. But if you get caught talking to yourself, they'll be like, oh man, what's wrong with you, man? Well, the world is insane. That's why the world, they don't talk to themselves, meaning they don't check themselves. They don't meditate upon their actions and the consequences of their actions. Why? Because they don't know. First, they don't know Yahweh B'Shem Eshad. They don't have the truth. They don't have the Holy Spirit. They don't have a standard, which is this gospel. Because every time you move, it's got to be according to the standard of this gospel. And sometimes there'll be times you're going to move according to the standards, and there will be times when you will not be moving according to the standard. And this happens to every man in Yahweh B'Shem Eshad in this truth, from the very top to the bottom. None of us are always working according to the standard. All right. That's why when we fall, we always meditate and find our way back. OK, so let's get to a couple of precepts that I had. Like I said, I wasn't going to make this long. Just want to hit some critical points, thoughts, reflection, and study. So this is Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. It says, "This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success." So you can't just move around the world, because we always got the spirit with us. But the flesh is always, the spirit is on the positive, but the flesh is always on the negative. The scripture tells you that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So it's a constant, and Paul spoke about that in Romans, the 8th chapter. It's a constant battle going on. So you have to refuel. You have to fall back. You have to think and reflect and about on your actions and how you've been moving. And then you have to study. All right. You have to constantly study the scriptures. All right. There's no such thing as I've already read the whole book. We know that. That's for novice, Christian novices. Every time somebody says, well, I've read the whole Bible 10 times over, immediately right there, that's somebody who's on no level whatsoever when it comes to understanding the scriptures. But a man who understands the scriptures understands that there's far higher levels of understanding. Although you're getting higher knowledge, your understanding hasn't caught up to your knowledge. All right, so there's a lot of things that need to happen in between. That's why we experience the ups and downs, the trials and the tribulation, and we know where to be within ourselves, or with the people around us. You know how all of a sudden people act funny, they put you in weird situations. It's all because the Lord is trying to give you a better understanding. All right, so that's why you have to study, you have to think, you have to reflect, and you have to study. All right, that's the three major component of meditation. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. It says, "In the day of prosperity, be joyful, but in the day of adversity, consider." Another word for consider is to meditate. All right, the word consider, con means with, sitter goes back to the word sedere, meaning stars. All right, with the stars, meaning when you look at the stars, because when men meditated, they were pondering upon things. They looked up in the stars. Sometimes it's good to do that too. Because this society got us so caught up on what's just in front of us that sometimes you forget that you look at the sky. Sometimes you got a blue sky. Blue is a color that's kind of blue and yellow. The combination of blue and yellow, those are colors that are vibrant. So you can look at the sun and look at the blue sky, and you start thinking and reflecting and you get that vitamin D. You just chill and you reflect and think and meditate upon the scriptures. You can even read the scriptures outside your balcony and get that. And then you start that, you meditate upon these things. I mean, however you able to do that, you do what works for you. I'm not telling you exactly what to do. I'm just giving you examples of some of the things that I've done that has worked for me. But how do you know it works? Because you've been in those slumps. you've been in those spiritual dumpsters, and you get out, so you kind of know what works and what doesn't work. All right. So let's go to. I'm gonna read it again. It says, Ecclesiastes 7:14. It says, "In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. The Most High also has set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him." All right. So, and that's what you have. You have prosperity, and then you have adversity. I mean, in our case, as men of the Lord, prophets, we're going to encounter more adversity than we're going to encounter prosperity, because we're all still slaves. We're under the rulership of the Edomites, the so-called white race, and the rest of the nations. We still haven't been delivered. And the prophecies, although the prophecies are happening, the final prophecies haven't taken place yet. Like the mark of the beast and the Third World War. So until then, we're going to continue to deal with that, with more adversities. All right. So, and adversity is when you actually learn a lot. You rarely learn anything in the state of joy. All right. So, so now let's go to next precept. This is Job chapter 37, and I'm gonna start at let me see. Said the one just worship. Yeah, let me see. Let me get this other precept first. Let me go to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1, it says, "All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers." All right. And we always thinking, because you got all these different groups that think that for some reason, because we preach about faith and righteousness through faith, it doesn't mean that we just totally ignore the laws, statutes, commandments. I mean, we're not Christians. Of course, we keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability. All right. And certain situations, certain new situations, you'll find yourself in certain situations. And you're like, damn, how do I deal with this thing, this environment or whatever? And that's when you have to think, reflect, and study, because the answer is in the scriptures, right? But if you don't study, then you're not going to find the answer. Or you might go out there and get wrecked, and then eventually find the answer. However it goes, if you're a man of the Lord and hopeful elect, you're going to get the answer. Now, how that's the process is going to take place, you're going to find out. That's the only thing I can say. But at least you want to be equipped. That's what it's all about. It's about being equipped for what we're facing when we're out there in the world, so we can continue to stay focused. So Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1, it says, "All the commandments which I command thee this day shall you observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers." It says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart." And this is very important, because that's kind of the wilderness that happened back then in the ancient times of 40 years. The final wilderness is here as well, where you're going through all kinds of stuff and you're being humble and you're being proved. So whatever situation we're going through, we can't get lost in the things that we indulge, that we have to. Because some of those things, it's things that you can't help but have to indulge in it. It might have to do with how you feed yourself, how you pay your bills. Things that need care. All right, because you got things that you involve yourself that are really straight up vain, that don't need care, but then you have duties and responsibilities that need care. But those those worldly duties and responsibilities can also deter, and could also kind of, mess with your focus when it comes to this gospel. All right, and those are usually the most difficult ones to deal with in this gospel. It's not the bullshit that you just decided that you felt like doing because it wasn't unlawful. It's the other stuff that you have to do because everybody that's subject to Edom Esau has to do to survive, and then you have to indulge yourself into these things then you can still lose focus. And you could put in your mind that, well, that's a good enough reason, but it's never a good enough reason. All right, because we understand that this place is temporary and anything that's on here is temporary. So, but the flesh is seduced always by the world. Always remember that. The flesh will always be seduced by the world and the things of this world. All right. So let me go to verse 2. It says, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord that power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. All right. That's why we're going through what we're going through, man. This is a process of finding out about yourself, because the Lord already knows who's who. We are the ones trying to find out who we are. When I say who we are, we already know who we are as far as the people. We try to find out if we are part of the election. All right. Verse 3, it says, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. Right? Because we gotta eat, we gotta get our bread. We gotta get our bread, but we could never get in this example dealing with the job situation. We can never get in situations where it's like, well, I gotta get the bread because that's how I live. It's true, but man could not live by bread alone. Man, the Israelite man, the spiritual man, cannot live just by focusing on making money. You just cannot. You know what I'm saying? That's not the number one reason of our existence. This is something we just have to do because we being humble and we were made captives and slaves. All right. But our number one duty is still going to be doing this work. All right. So we need to meditate to make sure we always understand with the priority. Verse 4, thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Most High, thy power chasteneth thee. All right. So these are things that you consider or meditate upon. Next precept, 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 14. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Verse 15, it says, meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thou profiting may appear to all. So you have to give yourself wholly, and it happens through meditation. And again, when you think upon meditation, think thoughts, reflection, and study. All right. At least now you have a better definition of what it actually means to meditate. All right. Not just sitting around like Buddha in a Buddha posture and humming. All right. It says, verse 16, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine, continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. All right, very important. Very important. Now let me get, this is Proverbs 16 and, that's another example right here. Proverbs 16 and 32. It says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. And then that's called self-control. Being able to control your spirit. And this is something that comes with meditation. All right. You usually see when cats are like irrational, erratic, those are usually signs of, cats that don't think, they don't meditate. They don't see the big picture. They're really caught up in a moment. We can't move like that. We have to understand there's always a bigger plot going on. There's always, and we are the main character of the plot that's going on, but there's a bigger thing that's happening, and we need to find out, at least get a sense of what the Lord is trying to do. I mean, you're not going to understand it until it's over, but at least you have to get a sense to what the Lord is trying to do. All right. So, now let me go to, I believe this is Sirach 9, chapter 14, verse 20. Let me see. All right, verse 20 says, blessed is the man that doeth meditate good things in wisdom, and that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding. All right, so I'm going to read that again. Blessed is the man that doeth meditate good things in wisdom, right? And that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding. So it's a blessing. Why? Because you get the edge. Most people out here, man, they just get wrecked. You know, because Jake, man, listen, the way we raised in this society, man, is, like grimy niggas said, well, shoot first, ask questions later. That's a foolish thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that mindset is absolutely foolish, because you're going to make a decision that you cannot reverse. You cannot reverse the consequences of the decision. And then you're going to think first. That's why a lot of niggas, spakes and wetbacks, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, Israelites, end up making huge mistakes, right? And then later on in court, when they getting given 20, 25 years without parole or life, crying like babies. Because now you meditating, man. You can't meditate after you've already basically like finished, crashed out, basically. All right. That's, as men of the Lord, we're different. We're not like the people in this world. So we have to constantly be in tune with the spirit and circumspect with what's going on. All right. That's why we have to meditate. Yeah. Now, let me go. I think this is... I'm just going to conclude with this one. I believe this is Sirach 39:1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof, right? There you go again with the word meditation, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. How you going to do that? By reading, by studying, and be occupied in prophecy, all right? He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. Right? His mind is going to be there where you have subtle parables. It says he will seek out the secrets of grave sentence and be conversant in dark parables. And you can't do this if you're not studying. You know what I'm saying? You can't do this if you're not studying, you're not reflecting. You can't have these parables because you see certain brothers will say certain things. You're like, damn, man. Wow, that's deep. Well, it's not because the brother is some smart intellect. That's wisdom that's built on study and experience. All right. That's why he's able to say the things that he's saying. Study and experience and meditation, foresight, bird's eye view. All right. Let me see. Verse 4, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through He will travel through strange countries. For he has tried the good and the evil among men. And there you go. Going back with the light and the darkness. All right. The ability to have the light and to deal righteously in the midst of darkness. Without those two, that's why we need adversity. We need Satan has his job. The things that are happening to us. We need that opposition so we can gain real understanding. All right, because it comes down to application. Let me see. Verse 4, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries. For he has tried the good and the evil amongst men. He will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him, and will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer and make supplication for his sins, which is that's something you're gonna do in meditation as well. Always. That's why you need to constantly pray, ask for supplication. Make supplication for your sins. All right. It says when the great Lord, this is verse 6, when the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. He shall pour out wise sentences and give thanks unto the Lord in his prayer. He shall direct his counsel, right? Meditation. He shall direct his counsel and knowledge, and in his secrets shall he meditate. All right. He shall show forth that which he has learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. All right. So, and that's what's going to happen. When the more you in this gospel, you understand these steps to understanding, it comes through meditation and actual battle experiences, field experiences, so to speak. All right. And that's basically all I had for this lesson about meditation. Like I said, I want to mainly focus on thought, reflection, and study, and hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Halam like how about Shemel Shah, double honor to our apostles, the elders, a great millstone. Shalom, salutation to you, sincere Akim, across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. Kasama God from the DC camp. Shalom.